Alright guys, welcome back. We're going to be working on this carburetor, putting it back together. It just finished the cleaner, the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to need to hit it a few more times with some carb cleaner just to make sure I get every bit and to ensure that nothing is clogged. Like I said, it's always nice to have at least 2 of these bottles on hand, just because when you run out, you just don't want to waste time and go back to the store. So, another one. Alright. Try to move this out of the way so I'm not trying to spray too much at these. Okay. Alright. Especially going through the carburetor after you have already done what I said before, spray through those holes and making sure everything is all cleared. The ultrasonic cleaner helps clean around the whole entire item as well as the inside whenever you can get it. But I'm gonna do a little quick run through. I hit all the jets again on both ends. And you just kind of shove it down each hole if you need to and see where it sprays out. Flood that one. I know you can even see from this angle. Yeah, that's a bad angle. Let me move this out a little bit. All right. Let's see where we want to spray down. You want to make sure this is loose. So, just moving this device right here will move the valves, you can see. It's a little dirty in there, so I'm going to spray into there directly. Probably you should use some PPE. You don't want to spray this stuff in your eyes. Hold that open and spray it out. Okay. Go directly in there. Let's see where it sprays out. So you spray on top end, you can see it squirt out the back end. And do the same thing with the other side. You can see that's where the fuel comes into the engine. You want to make sure those are nice and clean. Let's see, does that do anything as well? Can we spray? I'm going to spray down these holes, see where they shoot out. And you see it shoots right into there. Down this other hole, goes through the main jet, so that's where probably the fuel is coming from. That shot out, nice. That one looks a little clogged up. There we go. Good. Okay. So the goal is to make sure you find every fuel hole, air hole, so there's nothing in between it. Don't have to really care about this too much, but it's nice to have it clean. I'd brush things off. Just because that's where fresh fuel will be coming into your float bowls. What else we got? It's a little sticky. I gotta see where exactly it's making it stick. It feels like it's inside these flaps. pretty airtight. The thing feels airtight. All right, let's see. This looks like another thing. Valve. Fuel holes. Okay. That probably doesn't really need much. That'll just shoot out that way. Like I said, wear glasses, okay, guys? Don't be stupid like me. Other than that, I can't really think of any other areas to spray down. Let's see, what else? Oh. Okay. So this, check all the holes. Putting carb cleaner in here, it's like brake cleaner, so it dries up pretty well. So wherever you end up spraying this thing, it's not gonna be too bad of an issue. Sometimes these do get nice and stuck, but it loosens up. As you can see, it's a lot easier to move now. So making sure everything moves freely, clean. Freely. Sometimes I use WD-40, but that's up to you. Okay. All right. Well, let me go into something important. What I also said is, when you're cleaning out these pilot jets, these holes are extremely small. So I always recommend you grab a wire, an actual wire that you don't need, and you're gonna strip the wire off. All right. Actually, let me see if I can find my wire cutter. Okay. And all you need is literally one strand to ensure that you're getting everything inside that thing. All the gunk inside that pilot jet. So the pilot jet is extremely important for idling, which is that small little jet. And you kind of understand why. Like, idling will not require a lot of fuel, but it does require fuel. So that's why it's the smaller of the jets. It's okay if I cut a bunch of them off, it doesn't matter. I just need one nice strand. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a strand of wire right there. And trying to be not too abrasive with it, you're gonna put it inside the hole. And you're literally gonna be able to fish it all the way through. That's making sure that it's completely cleared in every single way, all around. And you're gonna spin it a few times, get it nice and cleaned out. And if you wanna test it out, slap the thing on right on the jet sprayer and see if it shoots all the way through. I'm trying to avoid to hit my other bikes. It shoots right out there. Okay, so that is nice and clean. You're gonna look at this through it with the just like at direct light, and you'll see a hole. As long as all the holes are clean and clear, you know you at least did your job there. That jet is ready to go. Okay. Same with the other one. Right now, I can already see through it. So sometimes, like I said, the ultrasonic cleaner does get everything already. So you probably don't even need to do what I'm doing right now. But for some people who don't have an ultrasonic cleaner and just have a carb cleaner like this, you're gonna use the wire method and kind of just put it in there. This is like a, copper wire. Just put it in there, spin it around a few times. Just make sure it's nice and clean. Do the same thing. Use the sprayer. Make sure you don't hit your face. And just make sure it shoots through the hole. Obviously it's shooting all everywhere because it's hard to seal it, but as long as you know for a fact it's going through that hole and you can see it through the light, it's extremely small, it is done. Looking at these main jets, I see a hole through it, but I always like to make sure it is extra clean. Put it in there, spin it a few times, just get all the gunk, if there is any more gunk in it, and hit the sides, a little hole in the side too. These carburetors are very picky. Every little minute hole does affect something in this bike. And let's see, shoot through, too easy, shoot right through it. Same thing with this one. There's a hole, it looks good. Sorry this is tedious and my videos are too dang long. I actually found another way to get our carburetor in a lot easier, and if you haven't touched your bike yet, hopefully, and if you haven't, like I said, you could use the tip to actually remove the carbs a little easier. I kind of found a much more, it's a little more steps to before you pull the carburetor. It's just adding more space, and more space makes life easier. So it's just a very tarnished carb or jet. Straight through it, too easy. Cut. Well, now I'm gonna just go into putting everything back together real quick. Simple little things. Let's put the main jets back in the same area. And I'm gonna tell you, whether you keep the jets in the same spots as before, it is important. Or you know what, I'm not gonna say it is important. I've done it, I've mixed it up before. Does it really affect it too much? It does a little bit. You just end up having to fix the air fuel ratio, just because some types these things are slightly different. So I'm gonna see why there is a, oh, okay, I forgot. Because they had this thing in there. This one fell out. Just make sure it's in the right spot. Jets in. We're just gonna hand tighten them for now. Same with these right here. There should be no springs or anything. I'm gonna get another spray down that hole. I want a lot of, like I said, those pilot jets or pilot holes are extremely important. Just make sure the liquid flows through it very easily. So, you know, spend a lot of time cleaning that area. Drop that in there, drop this in there. Let's see, do I still have my little flathead? Obviously I do a lot of other random projects in the middle of all my other projects, so I tend to just move tools everywhere. Little screwdriver. All the way in there. Snug. Don't go too crazy. Don't try to break it. Don't break it, because you're gonna have to buy another jet if you do. Still spinning in there. Okay. Snug. Slightly bigger flathead for that guy. Snug. No need to go too crazy. No need to be super tight or anything. And yep. Okay. Jets are back in. Everything is looking good. Okay. Now back to the float bowls. Float bowls. Give them a little once more. A little bit of rinse. See if you can get any more tarnish off. If you can't, then it should be sufficient for your overall project. Doesn't look like it's going to remove anything else. Oh man, I hope I have the gasket that I just forgot about. Alright, some of you guys are going to hate that I'm doing this. Like I said, these are my personal bikes, so I don't really care what I do with these bikes. But I always recommend you buy one of these new gasket bowl, get a new one. I'd recommend always get a new one, just because if you put the old one in and there's a slight crack in it and you're putting it all back together, you put fuel in this thing and it starts to leak, you're gonna have to pull the carb again. All that time wasted is gonna freaking suck. So let's just say you don't have money or even time to go get another one of these gaskets. Because why? Ordering it just takes freaking forever, right? There's plenty of options. I've done this before. Gasket maker feel resistant. Is it the best option in the history of history? It's gonna piss off the next guy who has to clean that carburetor, but like I said, if it's your bike, that's up to you. You can open it back up. It's not like it's super glue or anything. It makes a gasket that's fuel resistant. And sometimes I even put new ones, or put a little bit on so I can put the new seal on it without having too many issues of trying to get it on correctly. Okay. Let that dry a little bit. Alright. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go the cheap route and use the gasket maker. It's been a while since I've used this, so I wonder if it's still good. It feels okay. It's probably dry as hell in the middle. Okay. Damn, the thing is tight. Okay, cool. It looked like it dried too bad. So, we're gonna put a small layer on it. Make a nice little, kind of like a gluing seal around the area. Do you want to use a lot? Depends on what you like. Just enough, however you feel. A nice little tip will be easier, but I'm pretty used to doing this, so just kind of glide along the sides. Like I said, if you don't have, or if you already have the gasket and it's brand spanking new, don't use an old one, because you don't know how old it is, and if it's cracked and you put it all together and it starts to leak fuel, you wasted all that time putting it in, and you saw how long it took for me to get that thing out. A little frustrating. So put all this gasket on. Also, if you're doing this method, you're gonna have to wait to let it dry. So it is an exciting moment to let it dry. Just kidding, it's not exciting because you're wasting time. But you're also technically saving money because you don't have to buy it. Okay, almost forgot. If I put this on already without actually having this all in, that would be frustrating. So let me get this all in there. I wonder if I'm still in view. Yes, I am. Cool. All right. Put that on there. Put that back in. Okay. The rod itself. Cool. Easy day. Cool. That looks like that's for that one. Easy day. It's gonna go on the other end of it. Okay, that should be sufficient. Once you put it on, you're not going to want to really take it off because it's glue or it's a sealant. All right, got it on there. Let's put the screws back in. Watch, I probably forget a step. Usually I do. It's always nice to do the project all at one time because sometimes you forget where everything goes. Okay. Kind of show you in a minute that the gasket maker is literally overflowing. That's why you want it dry, because it's probably going to overflow on the inward side as well. Not just the outside. It's going to overflow everywhere. Once it's dry, it's fuel resistant. So is it going to break apart and fall apart? No. See, it's on the outside. I'm going to wipe that off. Just wipe the excess. Not really going crazy or anything. You're not going to die. Okay. Too easy. All right. And just make sure one more time that it's snug, not overly tight. Okay. Rebuild the top end. Which were these pieces right here. It's a little dirty, so I didn't really clean these off just yet. And I'm not going to try to use carb cleaner. Grab some of any good thing, any cleaner that would be good on rubber pieces. They sell like different versions of silicone cleaner. Right now I'm just wiping it off, getting all the crud off of it. I said, you gotta be very careful with this. You do not want to break it in any way. Are these expensive? No. But we're trying to be on budget. We're not trying to spend more money to repair this item. I want to make sure these side panels are nice and clean and not all crusty from the old fuel. Okay. The needles. Gotta make sure these are nice and clean. A little crust on it still, so spray it off a little bit. Brush it a few times. These are important to stay very clean. Yeah, it's just a lot of tarnish from the bad fuel. Okay. Feels smooth. Will this tarnish ever again? Sometimes you could even use what do you call this? It's like it's not steel wool. It's some type of like a scrubbing pad. A scrubbing pad will probably help clean it off a little bit more. Probably sponge. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Okay, that's quick. For a new Scotch-Brite pad. Y'all seen that stuff before. So, little bit of abrasiveness, but it should be good. Just to remove all the nasty crust on it. See how if I remember how to do this. I believe you put this inside here, back inside there. I know the spring is part of it. It looks like a heavy duty spring. This one. Yep, that is it. My neighbors are probably thinking I'm crazy that I talk to myself as I'm just doing this. Okay. Alright, open that back up, slip this in there, making sure that the needle actually goes through the hole that's on the base. You would understand if I would show you in a minute. Okay. Yep, the needle goes through the hole, goes all the way through there. Don't worry if you forget to put something, just find the item and put it back in there. Remember, one of these did have only 3 bolts and not 4. So, cap, put it back in. Do I need to really show you how to do this? You're doing everything in reverse. Exactly everything in reverse. The only good things to this, I guess, to this video would be just knowing where you have to spray with the carb cleaner, and maybe if you forgot how to put it back together, I'm kind of showing you that as we speak. there. Still trying to find another bolt to replace that, so I will do that later. So just a quick thing too, is a little quick check. Make sure that everything is functioning properly. You want to make sure that this goes up and falls back down, very simply. And you can hear a suction sound too, right? The suction sound is important. If there's no suction sound or it gets stuck, then in between those areas, you want to clean this again. Make sure it slides freely, because that's what lets your air in, especially when you pull the throttle. The more air he goes, the more fuel and air that gets pulled in, right? Let's just say on this side, when you pull the throttle, it's gonna open these valves up. It's gonna let air flow through a lot faster. And once it starts flowing a lot faster, this starts to move up smoothly and slowly, depending on how fast you pull the throttle, right? Yeah, it doesn't sound weird or anything. It's going down perfectly. It's fitting just fine. So that's easy day. I don't think there's any issues there. I want to make sure clean up my space a little bit so I know I'm not just dropping parts everywhere. Okay. As far as this up. It's a pretty thick spring. I want to say it went with this. Like I said, you got to remember where you put everything. It did goes, yeah, it went with this. This is going to be a nice cleaning too. But. All right, let me work this other end. Let's get this going as well. Ooh. Forgot. You want to check these and make sure they're not leaking. If there's water in this or fuel of any type inside these little bubbles, then you want to replace this overall. If there's a crack in it or whatever, kind of like me when I just dropped it a second ago, you want to make sure there is no liquid that will get in here, because this is what controls how much fuel goes inside your carburetor, especially your float bowls. And if they just sink, it ain't gonna work properly. Like, it's not gonna work properly. As fuel goes in, it goes up and closes and opens the fuel valve, where it just allows fuel to go back into the float bowl. So just make sure these do float. Just get a cup of water, dip it in there, and see if it floats. You'll be fine if it should be fine if it floats. Okay. I'm not going to show you that because that's just common sense. If it floats, it's good. Okay, let's see where else. All right, good. This piece right here, I forget what it is called, but you want to make sure that rubber is nice and pointy. If it's not pointy and it's, let's just say it's super dull, you can replace it too. Sometimes they sell, like a lot of places will sell kits that have everything, to include a brand new one of these, bunch of those little kind of things, you know. New seals, new everything. Sometimes even jets. If you're just too lazy to clean out them jets and you want to spend a little more money, then go ahead and buy the jets. But like I said, this is going to be easy. It should be pretty easy to do the way it is. Trying to get this all the way across. Easy day. Okay. Quick example. Imagine this. You see, this is the float bowl on this side, right? So this one's already completed. This one is still open. As fuel goes in, this pushes upwards, which stops the fuel from coming in. As fuel is less inside this float bowl, it goes down. Allows fuel to go into the float bowl. That's how these work. So that's why this needs to make sure, or you got to make sure there's no liquid inside it, or that, and also that it's functioning properly. Okay, simplistic stuff like that. Now, I'm gonna put another, okay, everything's already there, pieced everything back together. That looks pretty straightforward. Those bolts go there, those bolts go there. And those bolts have everything. Okay, cool, easy day. Build the next gasket. Again, like I said, you could use a brand new gasket, which I highly recommend. Just to make your life easier. All this needs is a tiny bit of sealant, fuel resistant. I've had this thing for like 5 years. It hasn't dried out. That's pretty surprising. And again, I haven't really built a bike in a minute. Been too busy with work. I actually started riding my Harley a little more, and I plan on replacing the brakes on those as well. So I'll probably do a quick video on how to replace brakes on a Harley Night Rod. Am I putting too much? Probably. I'd rather not have it leaking anyway. But that's simple there. Close that up. And now let's cap it. Okay. Same thing, drop the screws in. This one had all 4. I think the float bowl ones are a little more important for a good seal. So better have all 4 there. I think I also kind of mentioned sometimes these bolts strip, these little screws strip. And if you do strip them, let's just say you round that thing out. If you got a Dremel tool, and if you don't know what a Dremel tool, it's kind of like a little cutting disc thing. You can look it up. Be very cautious on how you cut it, but you could cut in a nice slit across overall and make it a flat head so you can remove it. And then I highly recommend you replace the whole entire bolt when you get it off. Okay. Remove the excess glue again. That's pretty simple as that. Now rebuild the top end. Okay, looks like everything is coming together pretty easily. Same with this. This needs a nice little cleaning, so I'm gonna go dip it inside my cleaning solution. Okay, 40 minutes into this video. So it's a lot of people like watching YouTube just to kind of burn time, and whether they're listening to everything I say, that's up to you. Okay. Very cautious, very easy. Brush down the sides. Actually have to go fish out the needle for this one because it fell to the bottom of the float bowl. Let's just say I drop this in there now without the needle. Well, that was painful. Like I said, that water is extremely hot. Cleaning solution that I have. Stuck my hand in it because it fell out and it fell inside. But should be good to go. Okay. This needle is not as sharp as the other one. Is it questionable? We'll see if it runs well. I don't have time to get another needle, but we shall see. Put it in there. Put it all the way in. Get the spring on top. Got the 4 bolts on this one. Put this back in together. This one's very simple. Just put it back in the 4. We're almost there, guys. Probably be done in the next, let's just say 2 videos. 2 to 3 videos. Because we're gonna put this carburetor back in the bike. That's probably gonna be a minute to put together. And we're gonna do the test run of the bike. Firing it all up. Sometimes you don't want to put the fairings all on and stuff, so I'm going to show you another technique on how to put fuel inside the carburetor without putting the gas tank back on and kind of burning all that time, especially if it doesn't work correctly and you have to take it all back apart. So show you that as well. Okay. Goes up and down. Doesn't sound funny or anything. It sounds good. It has a good suction sound. Needle's moving up and down. And remember before, the needle didn't even move. I was afraid to break it because I was trying to get this up and moving correctly. We're not gonna put fuel in it because, like I said, we're gonna let this dry and all that good jazz. So what else we got? We got this little component right here. Forget what it was called, but it's a valve. Make sure it's clean. Nothing too crazy about it. Drop it in there. Easy day. This spring right here, really heavy duty spring. Okay, here's another thing. There's an O-ring right here. Make sure that doesn't go missing. Comes back on. Force it all the way down. There's a lot of pressure on this spring. Okay. Speed. Why does it require so much pressure? Tighten those down. Okay. And if you're just working off a small table, you're gonna look at the table, you're gonna see no extra parts. At that point in time, you know all your parts are here. You're gonna start putting it back together, and if you do mess up on something, review back all the other videos, and maybe you might find out where things were before. That's the point. Or if you took pictures like I said you should have in the beginning to know where everything goes, that will help you out. Sorry that video again took a long time. That's putting back the carburetor. We're getting to the point where we're going to be able to put it back in the bike and get it all fired up, and hopefully it just fires up in easy fashion and no issues about it. All right, cool. Well, good luck guys. Hopefully I'm not delaying your projects too much.